All right, let's get started. So to get started, you are going to draw your horizon line. I am going to draw in a red colored pencil so you can see it better, but you will want to make sure that you do yours very lightly with a regular pencil because we're going to end up erasing a lot of lines. My ruler is not long enough, so I need to slide it over. If you do not have a ruler, you can use any object with a flat, straight, hard edge. All right, so I'm going to draw a vanishing point on either side. So I drew my vanishing points on either side of my horizon line. You can do an open concept one where the vanishing points are off of it. So if my paper was only this big, I can still have my vanishing points off. You'll just have to make sure you're lining up into the same spot. The closer together your vanishing points are, the more forced this perspective will be. It'll look like there's a greater distance from the closest point to the furthest away point. The further apart your vanishing points are, it's going to flatten it out a little bit more. I like having mine pretty far apart. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to draw one that's going to be up here in this area. You guys can follow along with me and do it as I do it. That way you have a jump start on the project because you guys are going to do this too. You guys are going to draw a total of 6 shapes. So I'm going to draw my first one. I'm going to start with a line. Remember, that's the corner of my shape. Next, I'm going to connect the top and bottom to both vanishing points. So let's go ahead and line that up. Line it up with a vanishing point and connect it. Do the same thing right here. All right, now I'm going to do it going the other way. And same thing right here. Next, I'm going to cut off the edge of my shapes. Just like 1 point perspective, they're going to run parallel to my original line. So I'm going to line that up. I'm going to shift it over. And let's cut off that shape right there. Same thing going the other way. You can make this as wide or narrow as you want. I could go all the way over here if I wanted. I'm going to draw a line connecting from here over to this vanishing point. We're going to go across the paper. Same thing here. I'm going to go from here across the paper. All right, I didn't draw that one all the way through because I know I'm not going to need it. All right, so you should be able to see my shape already. Let me go ahead and add in my final lines. So these black lines are the ones I would keep, and the red ones are the ones that you will erase. So when you do yours, you'll want to do it very, very lightly with a regular pencil so that you can erase it and keep it nice and clean looking. Make sure you use a ruler or something with a nice straight edge. That'll keep nice, crisp, straight lines, which will keep your drawing looking real fine. Everybody will see your drawing and they'll be like, dang, that is one fine drawing. Pretty sweet box, right? I'm going to do one that's on the line right here in the center. Connecting to the vanishing point again, get the top, get the bottom, go to the other side, do my edges. I'm going to make this a pretty narrow shape. Cool thing about the ones that are right on the line, you don't see the top, you don't see the bottom. So I don't need to do that thing where I go across the page. This is the type of shape you'd be using for most street level city views in 2 point perspective. I'm going to do another one that sits right on the line. Nice tall one. That bottom line is going to run right along my horizon. Checkity check that. I'm going to do some that are below the horizon line, and I want to do some that are closer to the horizon line as well. All right, so let's go ahead, and I'm going to do one that's like right here. Connect that. Whoop. Now I'm going to chop this one off. Let's make it right here. To the other corner. Remember, when you do the top and the bottoms, you have to go across to the other side. Look at that, I already got 4 out of 6. I'm going to go ahead and do a couple more. I'm going to show you guys how you would create a cylinder. I'm going to do that by starting with a box. And now here to here, remember to do the top, you go across. Now, I'm going to turn this into a cylinder. Here's how we figure that out. So first, I'm going to try to figure out, like, where's the center of my box? To figure out the center, you can draw an X, and now I know the center's right there. That'll help me figure out how to get a nice, even circle. We're not going to draw just a regular circle. We have to draw what's called an ellipses. An ellipses is a squish circle because you're seeing it from an angle. So if we look at this, that's a circle. If we were to represent this as a flat two-dimensional shape, that's an ellipses. We're going to be seeing it from like that angle. All right, so I'm going to draw an ellipses here. I'm going to draw it very lightly. That's actually looking pretty good. All right. Little taller on the top, little rounder over here. Now I'm basically just going to carve this block into a rounded shape. So I don't need this corner up here. I'm actually going to need this part right here where it touches the top. Let me round that out a little bit more. So it's going to touch the top. It's going to touch the sides, touch the bottom, touch the side again. I'm going to need a line here and a line here. We're chopping off that whole corner. So I'm going to line it up with the perspective, the vanishing point, put it right at the top of my circle where it touches the circle. And we're just chopping off that part of the box. Don't need it. Same on the bottom. Let's chop off that corner. I don't need it. I don't want it. Get it out of my face. There we go. Next, I need the back end of my box. So I'm literally just going to redo this shape right here. That curved shape. It's going to be right about here. I know it's going to go from the middle to the middle. I can kind of eyeball where that's at, right about here. So I was pretty good, it looked like. Right about there. And then I'm just going to continue it on right about there. Let me go ahead and draw my final lines so you can see it better. I would erase all of these red lines. There we go. That's how you do a cylinder in two-point perspective. You start with a box, and then you just carve away all that extra crap you don't need. Now you got a little log there. Any shape you really want to do, you can start doing something like this, a box, and then carve it away. That's actually a good technique for drawing people, too. If you want to draw people in a good perspective, like a close-up, draw boxes stacked on top of each other in two-point perspective, and then carve away until you find the person. All right, I'm going to go ahead and do one more shape. I have a big empty area right here, so I'm going to go ahead and do a big shape. There we go. That's going to be a big shape. I don't have a whole lot of overlapping, so I'm going to have this one overlap some of the shapes. Or rather, it's going to go behind and the shapes are going to overlap it. It's going to create a little bit more interest if I have them interacting a little bit more. It's always a good idea when you're doing any kind of drawing to have a little bit of a variety. Remember, variety is one of the principles of art and design. Variety is when you have an assortment of things. So I don't want just all medium-sized shapes. I got one smaller shape. This one's a kind of smaller one, but most of them are pretty medium. I'm going to help get a little bit of variety by doing a big old shape right there in the back. Oh, I actually decided I want to have a cutout in here. So I'm going to draw a little opening, kind of like it could maybe be like a door or a hallway. And then the top of it is going to be in one-point perspective going this way. I have this little part right here. This is going to go to the other vanishing point. So if we check this out, I have all 6 shapes. I have a pretty interesting layout. I have an assortment of different shapes. I got some overlapping. So this is a really nice layout for the perspective practice.